this video, we're going to show you a new recipe for homemade pizza crust that does not use dry active yeast. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back to The Long Run with Joel and Christy. I'm Joel.
And I'm Christy.
And today we're going to be talking about a new pizza recipe. It's a pizza crust recipe. Now, we used to use dry active yeast, but during the Rona, we couldn't find it.
That's right.
So I guess everybody was making bread. Christy searched on the internet for a new recipe, and we found one. We tried it out, and then what you're going to see is kind of do two different things, two different rooms, because we filmed this back when we lived in Houston, but now we're just now getting it to you. So we do a pizza crust that does not use yeast. So we found out it tastes pretty good. So here we go.
It's a little flakier, but it's good.
Yeah. So take a look at this. Hope this helps you out.
So we're going to start with 1 1/3 cups of flour. This is a 2/3 cup measuring cup, and so I'm just going to do 2 of those to make my 1 1/3. Now, don't worry too much with the measurements on this. This isn't like baking a cake, so a little off on the pizza I don't think is a big deal. We have that, and we have 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And you just mix that up really well. Yep. I'm messy with this, I'm just going to say. Okay. If you had a sifter, you could sift it to make sure everything is blended really well. I don't have a sifter. I could use one of my strainers, which I've done before when I needed to sift something, but I just do this. It's not that big a deal, I don't think. So then we have 1/2 cup of milk. Yes, I know it should be in a liquid measuring cup. We don't have one right now. And I'm using almond milk. It says to do, the recipe that I'm using, it says to do low-fat milk. Almond milk's pretty it's low fat anyway, and so it does really good as a substitute for milk. And then you have 2 tablespoons of olive oil. By the way, we said that we had recorded this in Houston before we moved here, and this is actually Orlando. And what it was is that between the move and between the time we recorded it and moving, I must have deleted it off my phone, and I never made it onto the computer or something. That. So this part of the video is in Orlando, and the rest of it, the part that I didn't delete, is going to be in Houston, yep, which will follow this in just a minute. Anyway, so back to what we're doing. I'm just mixing it, and I'm going to be honest with you. In a second, I'm going to just use my hands. But anyway, so you just keep doing like that till you have it mixed well. At some point, you're going to end up doing this, because you're going to realize that it's not getting everything, and you just use your hands. And you keep going, mixing it around with the flour. Shouldn't take very long until you get to the point where you have a little dough ball like that. And then you just take it out of the bowl, put it on the, I'm using cutting board, and I already had the surface floured a little bit. And according to the recipe, you just do this 10 times. So I just do like this. 1, And I don't remember, I think I said that in the part from, that's our oven preheating. I think I said this in the other part of the video from Houston, but I worked in a pizza restaurant when I was in college, but we actually used a mix. So, and we had a machine that rolled the dough out for us, so it is not something that I actually learned how to do when I was working in a pizza restaurant. But that is it. At this point, you just stop, because you don't want to over knead the dough, because that actually breaks it down and makes it more chewy. So once you do like about 10 little, rolling kneads, or however you call it, you just stop what you're doing, flip a bowl over the top, and let it sit for 10 minutes. So 10 minutes has passed, and you want to just start working the dough. Working the dough. Sorry, I forgot to bring some flour over. Okay. Now, in my opinion, it makes a very thin crust, and it's almost kind of cracker-like. Now, you may wonder, why aren't you just using a roller to roll out the dough? But I have actually heard that like breaks up the air pockets in the crust, so I don't do that. Do this instead. I move it over to the pan, and then I start just working it out. All right, and this, see, I just got it all stretched out to it. At this point, you would just add your toppings, and the recipe that I will link in the description has different cooking instructions than what we do. We cook our pizzas at 500 degrees. We do it for 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. 10 minutes. We have, this is olive oil. I usually do avocado oil, like I mentioned earlier, black pepper and garlic powder, and we just go around the edges. And we actually do it after we put the toppings on it, and then we do it again after 10 minutes, and then we put it back in there for 2 more minutes. And that just gives the crust on the outside part extra crispness, so it's a little more crunchy on the outer crust part, which is really good. And then we just take it out and we're done.
That's it.
All right, and we'll show you the finished product. We're not going to do a taste test on this one because we've already had it.
So I hope that kind of helped you out a little bit. If you want to make a pizza crust, there you go. That's how you do it without using dry active yeast for your dough. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for other updates from us. Click one of those videos that's floating around there to look at our faces some more. And so that's all for today. For the Long Run Joel and Christy, I'm Joel.
And I'm Christy.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.